So, everyone, it's what is today? Thursday, the 23rd. Doing our Q&A with Luke and myself. I think that is this the first one? And it
Yeah,
is, right?
this is the
Yeah.
first
Okay.
one. Yep.
All right. All right. Good. So we will in this we'll answer questions that we've been getting, and if anyone pops in here that pops any questions, if you do, just drop your question in the chat messages box here, and we'll get to them. So, Luke, good morning. What do we got?
Morning. A lot, man. This is exciting doing the first one. I know we've been getting a lot of questions about like what the group is, what they're going to be learning, and so I think
Yep,
this is a good chance for us to really address that here.
I agree. All right. So, what are some of the questions that we're getting?
Yeah, I'd say like the biggest thing is let's just go into like why have we created this group, what we're going to be covering in this group, what people can expect to learn, and we can go from there. I'd say
uh,
like the biggest thing is well, let's just give a quick background here. So, Terrence and I, we've been business partners for the last 3 years. I started out in the corporate world, got my master's degree in AI, worked a corporate job, realized that wasn't the trap that I wanted to be in for the next, 40, 50 years. And so I, jumped off on my own, started business with Terrence, and, we've been running with it ever since. I'd say the one big thing that, I've realized in that time though is that the business that we started wasn't necessarily like, everybody plays it out to be like the freedom, right? And then, it's a totally different experience, and it's been a great one. We built it up to be a pretty successful business doing around 100K a month, but um, recently something has happened that we thought it was too good for us not to jump out and go all in on this school thing. So maybe Terrence, you can talk about, Terrence has been in business for the last 30 years. Terrence can talk about why we're doing this on school, and why this is such a crazy opportunity that we couldn't pass up.
yeah, I think so. I think there's two things that go into it, and the first is what the first real big thing that's happening is AI, right? Everyone knows that, right? And there's just such a huge opportunity I haven't seen anything like this in the 30 plus years. The closest thing was probably when the internet came into the business world, but it happened slowly, and then there became more opportunities, with the internet, to build businesses from home or build businesses from anywhere. And I think Tim Ferriss had his 4-hour work week thing, but it happened slowly. There wasn't a quick adoption because there wasn't the need to. And AI is a completely different. It is like 100x what the internet was to business, and what it does for people is it completely reset, lowered the bar for everybody. So let me back in the day, right? Back in the day, to start a business, you'd have to, you have sales, you have marketing, you have operations, you have finance. Those are the kind of the big ones, and you got HR and all that stuff, right? But legal, right? But and you had to do that. You had to go out and hire certain people to do parts of those things because there's copywriting, right? And there's legal documents. It's like, oh, hey, we finally get a client that wants to pay. It's like, oh, great. Send over your agreement. It's like, oh, I don't have an agreement. It's like, what do I do now, right? So, and now you can do all of that with AI, with the GPTs, right? With the ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini and all the rest, right? So it gives the entrepreneur this tool set that's available to them to launch a business, launch a service, and get money from people like tomorrow, right? From customers, like, and have all these GPTs is available for you as this tool set to use. So there's this democratization that's happening right now because of AI and lowering the bar and giving everyone this huge tool set to compete out in the marketplace at any given time. And then in terms of combining that with school, and what is so unique about school, why this is important, is that typically what has happened out in the marketplace is you'll have people offering a service or offering info or coaching or a done with you offer, which means, hey, we'll do some of it, but you're going to have to do some of it. And then done for you offers, which kind of was our agency model, right? Which is like, we're going to do everything for you. And you know the if you went out in the marketplace for any of those type of services, typically it's going to be either ads or through LinkedIn or cold outreach or whatever it may be. And then you get on the phone with these people, right? Any of us, even our agency, right? It's like, okay, who are you? Who are you? What is it you've done? Do you have case studies, right? And there's this big leap of faith a lot of times before you're going to pay this person a lot of money, right? I mean, our offers, like you said, we were doing, anywhere from 100 to 120K a month, and it would, our offer was like, what was it, 10 to 15K, right? And so it's like, hey, that's a big investment, right? And with Skool, it gives you everyone the ability to build trust over time and give people the a price to value model, right? So instead of someone saying, oh, Terrence, 10 to 15K, right? It's like, hey, you know what? Come to our school group. You'll come into our free group. We can start to build trust with you there, right? And then you can kind of move up to a $47 a month or $97 a month, and that's much more palatable, right? And then see what it's all about. So, if you're like, okay, hey, you know what? I kind of think this might work for me. And, I kind of think these guys know what they're talking about. And they kind of, it's like, hey, come in for 3 to 4 months, right? At $97 a month, that's $300 or $400. That's just to find out if we know our stuff and if you know your stuff. And right, rather than making this big leap of faith to pay someone 10 or 15K, and have it not work. Because in business, that does happen. Things, not everything works out. Business is hard. Well, I'd much rather take some shots at $100 a month, right, to see if a business model works than to try and pay 10 to 15K. And we've done that, Luke, right? In our business, we've done that multiple times. So I think those are the two big things that really are combined. That I haven't seen anything like it. Obviously, AI and Skool and the ability to democratize the the playing field for any entrepreneur to get into the game and build trust with people rather than the old model, which is pay me first, right? Based on, case studies or whatever type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up such a good point because we've seen it time and again where it's like, you start a new like you try and start a new business, right? And the first thing you gotta wonder is like, "Oh, what do I actually sell?" Right? And so then you come up with some sort of hypothesis of what you're going to sell, and then you gotta figure out, "Okay, well, how do I actually sell this?" And figure out if there's a need for it. Well, then you go to LinkedIn and you send cold outreach to everybody, you send cold email, you try all these different things, maybe to get in a few conversations to get rejected by most people because that's just not how people like to buy these days anymore. And then you maybe get in a few conversations and maybe you were right, maybe you were wrong about what you thought you should be selling. And most of the time, these two hurdles, right, like figuring out what to sell and then getting people into initial sales conversations, most of the time, those two things are enough to deter pretty much anyone from actually starting a business, right? That's enough to weed out the 99%. But let's just say somehow you guessed right about what to sell and you got into the right conversation and you actually sell it. But then what happens after that is you're trying to, everybody's preaching to sell high ticket stuff. And so then you've sold someone for 5K or 10K or whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden you have to go figure out how to deliver 5 to 10K of value, and not just 5 to 10K of value. You need to figure out how to deliver, you know, 50K to 100K of value for them to feel like they've made a worthwhile investment in you.
Right.
And that's just a terrible feeling to, it's just a terrible process in general when you're first starting a business, right? Guessing what to sell, struggling to get into sales conversations. And then if you even sell someone, then your stomach drops. You're like, well, crap, I don't know actually how to deliver that much value to somebody because I just guessed and I haven't done it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the trap that I feel like so many people get into. And that's why I feel like these two things, like the two waves right now, AI plus this community based thing of Skool, offers such an amazing first business opportunity for anyone. Or not even first business opportunity, maybe the business opportunity that, if you're trapped in an agency or whatnot, you can pivot to actually find the freedom you want, not be stressed about having 40, 50 clients that you're not getting the best results for. And it's just because like, so we're actually in the process right now of helping Terrence's sister-in-law, Katie, build out her first ever business using Skool. And the process has absolutely blown my mind. Like, as someone who's like, Terrence and I have started a couple different businesses together, like we've gotten offers up from the ground. This process has blown my mind
Why?
altogether
Yeah, why? I'm curious. Like,
because we had the idea for, like, Katie had the idea 12 days ago. I think it's 13 days ago now, right? To
Mhm.
start this school group. She wanted to, she's a retired administrator and educator. She wanted to help women in some way, and she wanted to help women with how they can, learn more about AI. So she had this idea. So she came to Terrence and I, and we're like, okay, let's test out, using AI in school to build this out. 13 days later, Katie, starting from zero with no business experience at all, now has a group of 400 plus members who are 70% engaged, are getting onto conversations with her. Like, it's absolutely blowing my mind. She's having conversations with, 5 to 10 women every single day, asking them why they joined the group, asking them what value they're hoping to get out of it, asking them what they'd pay money for. And now we're getting to actually build out a paid offer based on exactly what the women in the group are telling us. And then we're just going to sell to them exactly what they want and provide a ton of value to them at a low price that they can afford. Like, that's just it's a beautiful business model. The fact that someone like Katie, who has never been in business before, 13 days in, has 400 women in her community, and she's actively being asked by the people in her community, Katie, give us something. What can we buy from you? What can we buy from you? What can we buy from you? Like, that's how you know that you've hit on something there. And I think that's just something I've never seen before with any other business model.
Yeah, it's really flipping the entire. I it's funny because I think about the two parts of the AI and school approach, and it's not just school, right? Like it's really what school does is brings the platform that it facilitates this democratization, but it's the flipping what I'm seeing out in the marketplace and having been in the business world and on, let's call it on the digital marketing side for the last 20 years, 15 to 20. No, it's been more than that. Let's just say 15 to 20, right? And what's so unique about it, again, it's the trusting, right? Because
Mhm.
like typically you'll see on the marketplace is um business owners will go out, or guys and gals will go out and they'll get like one successful case study, right? They'll have success with one client, right? Or a couple maybe, but typically they'll pick one client and then use that as a case study to go out to the marketplace and be like, look what we did for Joe. We can do the same thing for you, right? Pay us, $10,000 or 15, or I mean, there's guys out there charging, especially for these AI automation business models, like 25,000, which is ridiculous, right? But that model is broken because it's like you're taking a substantial amount of money from people, and to your point, it's like you're not going to be able to get effective results for all of them. So all you're basically doing is getting results for one person and then taking that to the market and then selling the dream at a very, very high price, right? To where this model is completely, it is the best model, it's the best sales model that I've seen. And like I said, I think some of what's happening is kind of AI coming into, and making this even better. But like, the ability to bring people in, say, hey, I know you don't trust me. Before you give me a single dollar, come in. I want to give you value and see if we can help you personally get to where you're trying to go. Because that's the other thing. Everyone has a different journey, right? Like everyone has different things in their life. We may have people, we do, right? And I know even in Katie's group, we do. You'll have people that are like that want to start their first business. You'll have other people that have started multiple businesses for that, want, or others that just want to grow their existing business, right? So like, but you have different people at different journeys, and it makes it at a price point. That's what I like about it. It's the low risk, because in business everything is about taking risks, right? You take different shots, and at, let's call it $100 a month, to be able to take that shot isn't going to put you in a bad position. You invest 10, 15, $25,000 in something and it doesn't work. I mean, that's a substantial amount of money, right? So that's what I really, really like about the model, and you touched on it, is just the low risk, high reward, right? Um, and the point is like, and we're seeing this in Katie's group. It's like people are like, hey, how can I pay? Like, when are you going to make, you need to start charging for this? That's when like, okay, cool. There's a value proposition there. I'd rather have that than me twisting somebody's arm to give me 10 or $15,000 and then demonstrate, the service or offering, whatever. But
Yeah, 100%. And I think School and like and it's not just school, right? School is
Mhm.
just the
Yeah,
one of the main platforms that's really making this community-based
right.
business model easy. And obviously we use school because it's backed by Hormozy, it's backed by Sam
Sam
Ovens.
Ovens.
We trust those guys out in the market, and so we that's why we use school. But the community-based business model as a whole really aligns with where I think you and I both see the market going, right, Terrence, where it's like
Yes.
we're getting into a very skeptical market, I would say. Like there's so many options out there for anything that you're looking to buy, right? If you're looking for consulting services for your e-commerce business or whatever, like you search that online, you're going to find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of options for that, all pretty much offering the same thing, right? And we're really hitting this point where the market is so flooded with options that people are going to choose to work with and do business with the people that they know, like, and trust, right? And the community model, I think, is just really taking that to the next level, where instead of you just like getting to know, like them, and trust them through some posts on LinkedIn or some posts on YouTube, like when you're actually a part of someone's community, right? You're getting to interact with them daily. You can send them messages, you can talk with them, you can interact with them on Q&A calls like this, like Terrence and I are doing right now. You go through the course content. And you know what you're doing? Like when you first join a community and you go through all the intro content, you interact with the community owners, you're making a judgment like you do in real life. Like, do I like this person? Do I trust this person? Do I get value from this person? Is this someone I want to spend more time with, right? And that is where I think the market is going as a whole, just because we do have so many options. And things like AI are making it easier for people to start businesses and get them up. And we're just going to see more and more options. And so the people that are going to win are the ones that have the communities that know, like, and trust them, the ones that have built up a lot of goodwill with their audience. And that's why I'm so bullish on the community based model as a whole, and specifically school because of Hormozy and Ovens.
Yeah. And you just mentioned it. So the same thing that I said earlier in the very beginning in terms of AI as being able to democratize, so any entrepreneur can go out there and start a business, and it is. And I'm thinking about like AI automation guys, right? So like out in the marketplace right now, you could like
Yeah.
throw a stick and hit 10 AI automation guys. I mean, my 17-year-old upstairs is doing it, right? So like, but the point of that is that those guys are out there trying to charge 5, 10, whatever amounts of money they're trying to charge. But it's like, if you do that, if you're an AI automation guy, like start a school group. And I know that there are other folks on here on school that did that, right? Start a school group, right? Demonstrate your value proposition there, in a low risk manner, and it will allow you to separate yourself from the competition. So that's it. It doesn't matter if you go into a super competitive space. It doesn't matter if you go into a blue ocean space. Like the ability to basically build your audience, build trust with them, provide value before they even give you a dollar, right? And to separate yourself from the rest of the competition. It reminds me of days like like when the internet came and people were talking about build your email list, like your money is in your email list, right? And this is like an email list on steroids. This is like 100x
Yeah.
what an email list is.
Yeah, that's really what I was thinking. And this like community based model, it I just think it makes everything you do better, right? Like it can be used in conjunction with so many different things that you do, right? Like, we run a lot of like high ticket call funnels for our other business model, right? And every single call that we're booking in that funnel is, like we're paying like 200, $300 for that call. And then they either show up or they don't show up, and they either close or they don't close. We'll add them to our email list. But really, realistically, it's like they're either closing on that call or they're not closing on that call. And then maybe we'll reactivate them at some point. Like using a community-based business model, even in conjunction with like a higher ticket funnel or something like that, it just allows you to, like you said, it's like an email list on steroids. Because the thing about an email list is, with an email list, you're competing for attention in their inbox, and you're trying to get that like 1% of value to them every single day or something like that, and trying to get them enough value that they notice you in your email list. And I don't know. Frankly, I get a ton of emails. There's like maybe one or two guys that I actually read their emails on a regular basis and give my attention to. A school group, though, you're you have so many more opportunities to provide your group of people value than you do with like an email list, right? You can
Mhm.
host these live calls with them, you can put content in there. Like it is really an email list on steroids. And I think it should be used in conjunction with pretty much every other form of like advertising and marketing out there. Cause I think it just amplifies everything.
Yeah, totally agree. All right. What I'm trying to think what else. What other type? We've touched on a lot of the questions in our diatribes here, but are there any specific ones that you can think of that get asked?
Yeah, I guess one of the things that obviously comes up a lot is like, how do I actually pick what to,
Mm,
create this community about? What if I don't have the experience? What if I, just how do you
right.
go about that? And I think that's something we can touch on real quick
Yeah.
here.
Let's talk about that. And it's usually in the context like, okay, great. Like, what should I do, right? And I think some of it, is finding what your area of expertise is, but also your interests, like pairing both of them, right? So, like, let's go back to use Katie's example, right? Like, I had said to Katie at one point, when I went back to visit, my brother, her husband, and we were talking, and I said, I can see there's a huge need for men in the marketplace who are between the age of 40 and 50, because a lot of them feel like they're going to be downsized with the AI move to AI, and I think that there's a real need for them to learn some AI skills. And Katie was like, "Yeah, I see that, but that's not really my interest, right? Like, not that, and not she doesn't like men, but it's like her people is like women. She's like she wants to advance and help women, and so it's like that would be a mismatch if I said, Katie, no, you need to do this specifically for men, right? And she's like, okay, she was willing, but she was like, that's not really her interest is, right, or her expertise. So I think pairing those two things, which is like, hey, find an area that you're good at, that you're knowledgeable, that you have expertise, right? And that you have an interest in, right? Like, and then we can build it backwards from that. But that's kind of like a high level, but maybe if you want to go into like more specifics.
No, I think you're hitting on it, and you don't have to be an expert. I think is a really important point here, right? Like I like to think of two buckets, right? You've either done something and you're experienced in it, and you can teach that experience that you've gone through, right? So maybe like I'm thinking about one person in particular, like uh, this one woman in Katie's group, she's a successful lawyer, right? And
Yep.
so she can she has lived that experience. She's done it. And so if she wanted, she could start a school group basically for like women who want to become lawyers. Like, here's the entire process that I went through to become a successful lawyer, right? That'd be something super value to provide to the market. At all the like newly graduated women who are thinking about becoming a lawyer, she can provide a ton of value to that segment, right? And so then the flip side of that, so that'd be something that she's an expert on, right? She's lived that experience. And so she can build a community based on that experience that she's lived and provide value to people going on that same journey. The flip side of that is this same lawyer that's in Katie's group. She was talking about how a lot of women, including herself, who are lawyers, are wondering how they can use AI to make their lives easier and make their jobs easier, right? And so the two options she had was one, she can teach something based on her past experience, which is like, here's how I became a successful lawyer as a woman, and this is the process I went through. Or what we were telling her is if she's passionate about learning how to use AI to make her job easier, then she can start a group about that. And she doesn't have to be an expert on it, but she just has to be passionate about learning about that and sharing what she's learning and basically taking the other people that join that community on that journey with her, on that learning journey. And those are two ways that I really see it. It's like you either think about, okay, what have I done that's interesting and that I can teach on and that's valuable to people? Or what is something that I want to learn that would be valuable to myself that I can take people on the learning journey with me? And I think those are two of the best ways to do it. And then finding some way, obviously, to tie whatever you choose back to health, wealth, relationships, because those are really the three main things that sell, right? And pretty much anything can be tied back to health, wealth, or relationships, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you can find a way to tie it back, but you have to tie it back to one of those key things.
Yep. Yep. Agree.
And
All
there's
right.
there's going to be a lot more information on that in I'm actually finalizing a module on actually picking your niche for building a community
Yeah.
business, and
That'll be
so
key.
there's there's going to be a lot more value and information in that actual course where we'll walk you through exactly how to do it, kind of from A to Z there. So this was just kind of a high
Cool.
level. Anything else you
Cool.
want to touch on, Terrence,
Yeah,
or should
I
we
think we're good.
wrap it up
Yep,
for
we're
today?
running up. Yeah, we're running up to the 30-minute mark. So I think this will be a good one. So it's a good first Q&A, and then we'll look forward to doing this again. I've set on the calendar for next Tuesday, so we're just going to do it Tuesday, Thursday, I think, and then
Perfect.
we'll
And
go
if
from there.
there's anything in the meantime that anybody thinks of, just go ahead and drop your questions
Yep.
in the post for this, and we'll
Yep.
go ahead and make sure that we
Yep.
prepare
That's
some
a good.
answers for that
Yep.
for you guys.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, we're out. We did it. Number one in the books. Number one Q&A
Have a good one,
for
everyone.
yeah. All right, guys.